Hi everyone, welcome back to A View On, Lonza's podcast on the latest trends in pharma manufacturing. Today we will explore the bread and butter of the pharmaceutical industry, innovation. How it has shaped the pharmaceutical industry so far, and how it continues to transform the way medicines are discovered, developed, and manufactured with the support of world-leading CDMOs like Lonza. In this episode, we'll explore the evolving needs of drug developers as they increasingly focus on novel molecular formats and what this means for the relationships with manufacturing partners. We will also explore external innovation, focusing on how pharmaceutical manufacturers collaborate with innovators to integrate disruptive technologies early into their processes.
80% of what we are focusing is improving current technologies that we have in Lonza, but there is 20% of what we look into is also sort of disruptive technologies of things that is, the future, maybe what is going to be in the next 10 years.
You just heard from Zara Asgharpour, Lonza's Director of External Innovation, who reminded us that the 20% of truly disruptive technologies will shape the therapies of tomorrow. Before we explore how Lonza identifies and integrates these emerging technologies, we begin our story upstream, at the molecule itself. Joining us first is Andrew Brown, R&D Director in Integrated Biologics, to explain how innovation often starts long before a therapy reaches the manufacturing floor. His full interview is coming right up on this episode dedicated to innovation in the pharma industry. I am Martina Ribar-Hestariceva, and this is A View On, a podcast brought to you by Lonza. Our innovation journey begins with Andrew Brown, Lonza's R&D Director, who works at our Integrated Biologics facility in Slough, UK. Hi, Andrew. Thanks for joining us today. So, Andrew, for listeners who work with these molecules every day, what's the biggest difference between developing a biotherapeutic and a traditional small molecule?
So biotherapeutics are a type of molecule which our partners are bringing into the clinic and to our patients in order to meet unmet medical need or to improve patient outcomes. They differ from traditional small molecule pharmaceuticals in that they use proteins which are more complex structure of a molecule. So from an innovation perspective, one of the exciting things about Lonza is that we have over 35 years experience working with these biotherapeutics right from the dawn of these molecules being brought by customers to treat unmet medical needs. And thus required us to innovate over that period of time to meet the scientific challenges that those molecules bring. We continue to work with new molecular formats to find better ways of expressing and to manufacture those molecules, but also to have techniques and technologies which allow us to understand the attributes of that product so that we can work in partnership with our customers to understand how that molecule is working when it goes into the clinic and goes into a patient. And because our partners are continuing to innovate and to evolve the new types of molecules that they wanted to bring to patients, we have to continue that innovation as well.
If we go back 30 years, what's the biggest shift you've seen in how we understand and work with these molecules?
Well, in many ways, the molecules are very similar to what we see today. They're a protein, they have a complex structure. I guess what has changed is that the type of molecules and our understanding of those molecules has evolved significantly over that time period. So we take monoclonal antibodies as a good example. Today, those are a well-recognized treatment for unmet medical disease. And there's been great success in bringing those types of molecules to patients to get them into the clinic and to get them approved by regulators to bring them to patients. But 35 years ago, we didn't have that understanding. We had to learn as we worked with those molecules. It's allowed us to develop platform approaches and techniques, which has really simplified the options that we now have for our partners to be able to take those molecules and support them entering the clinic and the passage through the clinic into commercial approval.
And looking at the pipeline today, what's changed the most in the types of molecules customers bring to you?
What we've seen over that time period is that other types of proteins have been brought to us by our customers to work on. They have some attributes which are very similar to monoclonal antibodies. They have attributes which are very different, and those pose different scientific challenges. So really, the challenge has been the same over that time period. We have to adapt and be innovative based upon what our partners bring to us and be focused upon supporting those product-specific needs and supporting them going into the clinic.
How has Lonza adapted to meet the scientific challenges of these evolving molecules?
So we've learned with our partners over this time period. And this is, I think, one of the things which makes Lonza special is that we have this rich heritage and experience. It's knowledge that we looked to learn from within our organization so we can identify new approaches which allow us to support our partners in their desire to bring these new biotherapeutics into the clinic as quickly as possible to help patients in an economical manner as possible.
Have you witnessed a change in the customer base in the past 30 to 40 years?
So we do see a difference in the type of company that comes to us to partner on with these molecules. Over 30 or so years, it's evolved from more traditional, established pharmaceutical companies working in-house and innovating with these molecules to smaller biotech companies who may have evolved and spun out from academic organizations. And these are organizations which don't have the same resources available to them as large pharmaceutical companies, but also don't have the experience and knowledge necessarily to be able to manufacture these complex molecules.
Andrew, what excites you for the future of biotherapeutics?
What excites me is that this is a journey which doesn't stop. We're still at the beginning of the potential of this class of molecules to treat unmet medical need. And what we see with our customers is that they continue to innovate to find new molecular formats that they want to work upon, and we're there to support them and use our knowledge and our learning to go on that journey with them to further learn about these new molecular formats, how we can manufacture them, and ultimately bring new treatments to patients to help them.
So far, we've heard from Andrew about how biotherapeutics have transformed patient care and how Lonza's decades of experience have enabled continuous innovation and improved manufacturing processes. From monoclonal antibodies to new molecular formats, the journey has been one of adaptation through partnership. But innovation doesn't stop in the lab or manufacturing facility. It requires looking outward as well. That's exactly the mission of the external innovation team. To learn more, let's turn to Zara Asgharpour, Director of External Innovation within Integrated Biologics. Zara, thank you for joining us. Could you start by introducing your team?
Thank you very much, Martina, for inviting and for having me. It's a great pleasure. So we are external innovation team, and we are part of the Integrated Biologics R&D. So what we are doing is basically looking for partners outside the company, and this is both companies, startups, academic institutions, and we set up collaborations with. 80% of what we are focusing is improving current technologies that we have in Lonza, but there is 20% of what we look into is also sort of disruptive technologies of things that is, the future, maybe what is going to be in the next 10 years, which we don't know now. Like, cell and gene therapy maybe 15, 20 years ago was like, mostly like in the academic labs and it was in the research level. But I think Lonza took a step at that time and invested in this area. And this was a disruptive technology at the time. mRNA is another one. So it means, and it shows that, Lonza is a company that innovators can count on. And we are not only just looking at what we can do today, but we look beyond that.
Your perspective, Zara, highlights the fact that Lonza was recently listed among Fortune's most innovative companies. What you just shared also about exploring disruptive technologies makes me think that we are not only serving customers today, but also predicting what's next and preparing for breakthroughs.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right, Martina. And I think, innovation is a long journey, just like drug development and drug manufacturing is a long journey. It takes many, many years of efforts to bring any new innovation into life, I would say, in healthcare in general, whether you're in pharmaceutical or whether you're in medtech. So it's a long journey. And you can't just think that what I'm doing today is going to be enough for tomorrow.
What makes external partnerships so critical for innovation?
The thing is that technologies are evolving very fast. We are seeing that the molecules that our customers are developing is getting more and more complex because of the technological advancement. But sometimes the internal forces or the internal developments of the technology takes a lot of time. And that is where the partnerships and looking and scouting for external partners becomes a key element. So therefore, I think it's very important in today's world to both develop the technologies in-house, but also to look externally to partner. And we certainly have done a great job at that.
What advantages can CDMOs bring to its innovation partners and vice versa?
Well, obviously, Lonza is one of the leading CDMOs in the world, and we have got a lot of in-house technology and great scientists and great labs, which are very well equipped. We have mastered the regulations, and I think a lot of companies which are at earlier stages of the development or academic labs who are thinking about the next stages of development of their products, this becomes like a key factor. So to partner early on with a CDMO, which offers end-to-end integrated solutions, and it's going to be there for them at any time. I would say that there's almost no academic lab which develops a molecule which is going to be translated into the clinic. You definitely have to think very early on who do you partner with to have a reliable CDMO partner who understands that market very well, who understands the challenges of the manufacturability of your molecule, and manufacturability of it at a scale is a super, super important element.
Zara, how do you see CDMOs, I mean, not just manufacturers, but partners like Lonza, shaping innovation in the wider ecosystem?
I do think that CDMOs certainly come at later stages of the clinical development. They become much more important. And the fact that maybe a lot of innovations even don't make it there makes it like, okay, you only start to think about, choosing the right partner, of course, from early on. But is your product going to really make it all the way to a commercial offer? That is the complexity that nobody can sort of really predict 100% accurate from early on. There's much more awareness that you have to really choose a reliable CDMO partner from early stages of your development to ensure that if you are succeeding the clinical trial phase 1, 2, 3, that you can go scale up manufacturing with your trusted partner together.
And where does external innovation fit in for emerging biotech seeking funding and scalability?
I would say that we are basically sourcing innovation for the company, for Lonza. Means that wherever we think that there is a disruptive technology which can really evolve our current manufacturing technologies, we come into play. But nonetheless, we don't have to forget that there's also a lot of incremental improvement in our current processes, which can save us a lot of time, save us a lot of costs, and advance us in terms of the timing to deliver. So I think where external innovation can play a role in this is that because we are talking to a lot of people in that early stages of the development, whether they're a startup, they're a Series A, Series B of funding, or they're academic institution, we can create that awareness and tell them that, you have to really think early on about choosing the right CDMO partner to ensure sort of a secure path forward to the clinic.
Looking ahead, which technologies or trends like AI, digitalization, automation, or others do you believe will have the biggest impact on biomanufacturing?
I think AI has played a very key role, and especially in the drug discovery space. But nonetheless, in manufacturing, I would say access to the data and having some sort of standardization and harmonization of the data and making it accessible to be able to develop models which then can be used for training AI algorithms will be the key. But indeed, the trends that you mentioned are the key trends. But nonetheless, we are also open to looking to some other disruptive technologies which can bring the cost of the manufacturing lower or disrupt this altogether. So this is other areas that we are interested in. But digitalization, AI, machine learning algorithm, this all is key to ensure that we're ready there for the customers and we are ready to offer them wherever they want to go to the next stage at the speed and at the cost that they're willing to have.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today, Zara.
Thank you very much, Martina.
What a great discussion. Today, we've heard that innovation in pharmaceutical manufacturing is both a heritage and a horizon. It's clear that partnerships, both internal and external, are the lifeline to ensure progress that ultimately unlocks improved processes, patient experiences, and modalities targeting unmet medical needs. That's it for today's episode of A View On. Thank you to Andrew and Zara for sharing their insights, and thank you for listening. Join us next time as we discuss emerging trends in manufacturing hard-to-manufacture molecules. If you cannot wait, head over to lonza.com/a-view-on to listen to our previous episodes, subscribe to never miss an episode, it really makes a difference, and access additional materials and interviewee info. Bye for now.